welcome to
another episode of
Books
Beer
and Wine.
I'm Karina.
And I'm Cora.
And
this is the second time we are recording this episode.
Yeah, because the first one was totally not focused on us. This is our second try to discuss one of our recent books that we've read. And of course we liked it because only good books get chosen to be in our episodes of Books, Beer and Wine. So tell us which book it is.
So we've read The Paris Bookseller by Kerri Maher.
If that's how she's pronounced, we hope so.
We hope so. And it's set in 1920s Paris, and I think that should be enough for you to read it. It's based on Sylvia Beach's story. She was a bookseller, an American bookseller in Paris. She opened her store
that you might know by its name.
Yeah, in 1990.
Yeah.
And it's called Shakespeare Company.
And you've probably heard of it or even walked past the bookstore that still has this name in Paris.
Or went inside.
It's opposite to the Notre Dame Cathedral.
But that's not the one.
That's not the original store. This store was built by an admirer of hers.
Yeah, so it was originally called otherwise, I don't remember the original name. And his daughter is called Sylvia, and I think she's now the one who is running that.
Exactly, yeah.
And at some point, in honor of Sylvia Beach, he renamed his bookstore to
Shakespeare Company.
But the original one is not far from it.
Yeah, but it's closed now, so there's not a bookstore anymore. Yeah. So the closest you can get to entering Sylvia Beach's original bookstore is going into the new Shakespeare Company.
And so we've been in front of it, not knowing what piece of history was in front of us.
Sadly.
But I've read that in that shop are a lot of information on the original one.
Yeah. So the next time we go to Paris, we definitely will go inside and we'll take you with us.
Yes.
So what is this book about?
Yeah. So it's about
her story.
Yeah, Sylvia Beach, and as you might have noticed at some point, all the books we discuss here have at least a LGBTIQ plus subplot, and Sylvia Beach was a lesbian.
Yes.
And so I didn't know that before.
No, I didn't know that either.
And so it's about her life, or part of her life. So it starts at the end of World War I, and we follow her life as she
establishes and founds the bookstore, and how she runs it, and what kind of events she organizes to take place in that store. Together with her partner, Adrian Mounier, who's also who's also based on a true character, a true person. She has her own bookstore, had her own bookstore in Paris, and she founded her bookstore before Sylvia came to Paris. So she founded it during the First World War. Yeah, so her bookstore was an inspiration for Sylvia to open her English language. So Adrian's bookstore is a French language bookstore, and Sylvia's is an English language bookstore. Yes. So she was her great inspiration to open up her own store and to fulfill her dreams, so to speak. And the great thing about following her story is that she gets to meet so many amazing and famous people that we are sure know, at least by their names. Yes. And we didn't know that so many famous people were in contact with Sylvia Beach. So the great thing about that story is that you get to see or meet, meet so many famous people that crossed their way
at her bookstore. So it's a meeting point
for
lots of mainly English language authors.
And we won't spoil it, but
James Joyce.
Very,
very central.
He's very
to her life.
Somewhat name dropping.
Ernest Hemingway.
Fitzgerald.
The Fitzgeralds, both of them.
Yeah. Walter Benjamin.
So what I found most interesting about the fact that all these authors went to Paris was that Paris in the 1920s was so affordable and cheap. So they couldn't afford to live somewhere else, so they went to Paris.
Yes,
Paris.
That's true. It's not unimaginable today.
It is unimaginable.
Yeah, that's what it's not imaginable, but it's unimaginable. Yeah.
So they went to Paris to live there.
Yes. And one of the most amazing things that we got to learn during reading that book was that 1920s Paris was very, very queer friendly. In Paris it was kind of okay to live in a queer relationship.
Yeah, it was not necessarily accepted, but it was tolerated, and so people didn't live as out as many of us do these days, but they didn't hide. Either. So, and Paris in the 20s, a queer Paris in the 20s. It's
such a great setting, and there's lots of events taking place, and we all witness those events, and it's so much fun to just be a part of it, and it's really, especially in times like these, it's really a fun read, and takes your mind somewhere else. And lots of great characters. I really liked Adrian, partner, Sylvia's partner. It's a very tough and cool woman. And Sylvia, of course, who was so brave to establish that store like it ended up to be, and then it all takes her through the years right until the beginning of the Second World War.
Yeah. And that's where the story ends.
Yeah, and that's a good ending, I guess.
Yeah. No, I really liked the ending, and if you then want to learn even more, you really, really should read the author's note, because she continues Sylvia's story, Adrian's story a bit, so there's a rough summary, and she also discusses what is true in the book and what's not. And I was really surprised how much was true.
Yeah. And another note, for me this book was very special because maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but as a bookseller, I'm a bookseller myself.
Oh, what?
It's so great to also, I think the author really pointed out how much of a satisfying feeling it is if you put a book in other people's hands and recommend it, and if these people come back to you and say, I want another book, but recommend me one. So that's the feeling that's described so often in that book, and I guess the author worked in a bookstore as well, that's what I remember, so she knows that feeling, or still does.
Maybe
and I just loved that she described the love for books in such great ways. So read it.
Ask me about my favorite character.
Who's your favorite character?
The bookstore. No, I really liked Sylvia and I loved Adrian, but I think their bookstores are the biggest attraction in this book, because it's my vision. It's my vision of a perfect bookstore where you get together and you have readings and you have social events after the readings with wine and a lot of chatting, and that's my dream bookstore.
Yeah, it's a place to come together, brings people together.
And I already told her that's what she should do. Because that's what people will love.
Yeah. So, for all you book lovers out there and bookstore lovers and lovers of great, strong and tough women and queer history and Paris, go ahead and read that book.
Yes, you should do that.
And let us know in the comments if you liked it, and maybe who's your favorite character. If it's the bookstore or
it's a valid decision.
Person. Let us know and enjoy.
Yes. And as last times, maybe we haven't decided yet what we'll discuss next, so there will be another surprise book. Have a good time and see you soon.
Bye
Bye bye.